'Tis the season to be a woodworker. Christmas is the most wonderful time of the year to make some sawdust. So in this video, I'm going to share some of my top favorite woodworking gifts for this season of giving. So don't wind up being this guy. Instead, be this guy. If you're new to the channel, I'm Daniel with Bearded Viking Woodworks. And I've made this series called Stuck on Sawdust in hopes to inspire woodworkers who may find themselves stuck. Whether you're looking for the perfect gift to give or sell to put some extra cash in your pockets for the holidays, there's something special about handmade gifts. I'm going to share some of my favorites with you that are super popular and guaranteed to be the perfect gift and also packed a big profit. Let's start with this badass project I ran across while searching online. The life-size ruler. Now, I don't know about y'all, but in my household growing up, I had 6 siblings, and it was a family tradition to measure your height every year on or around Christmas to see how much you had grown throughout the year. We didn't have one of these, so we would literally stand against the cased opening in my kitchen, and we would just take a pencil and go right across the top of our head and mark right on the wall, and then we would initial it and then put what year it was. Well, this item is something I wish we had because it is just super cool, and it can go on any wall in your house, really. This one is made from a 1x8 by 8 feet cut down to 7 feet, and it is 7 1/4 inches wide by 3/4 thick. You can use any species of wood to create this. It doesn't have to be anything outrageous, or exotic. You can use a simple piece of pine or a piece of plywood. You can get your marks with a CNC machine, or if you don't have that, you can just use stencils. In this case, I'm just going to show you how to get this thing cut down and then lay out your marks for where all your measurements need to be to measure the correct height. Let's head to the table. So if you're going to be using a piece of plywood like I am in this case, then you're going to want to rip it down to 7 1/4. Otherwise, just use a 1x8 that measures 7 1/4 already. We're going to go ahead and rip this down real quick. Now let's head to our miter box. Most plywood comes pretty square, but I'm just going to square up this end just in case. Now you're going to want to measure to 7 foot and cut it down. Now you have your piece ready for your layout. Now for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to use a smaller piece and show you how to measure out for each of your feet and each of your in-between marks. So each in-between mark is marked at 1.5 inches. So just make a tick mark at every 1.5 inches. So we'll go 1.5 inches, 3 inches, 4.5, 6 inches, 7.5, 9 inches, 10.5, and then 1 foot. Now for your 1.5 inch marks, you want to make them slimmer than your foot marks so they stand out. So just take and scribe over with a square. And please excuse my chickens. They're making a lot of noise. And for your 1 foot mark, you want to mark that a little thicker. So we'll just use a Sharpie. Now you can use stencils for this, and I'll leave links in the description for all that. And you can even mark 1.5 inches on your marks here, and 3 inches, then 4.5, and so on. Say down here was your 5 foot mark on your piece, and your height measured to like right here, you would obviously be 5 foot 2 inches. So this thing is awesome. This project is not only cool for a gift, it also packs some good profit. For the 1x8x8, you're looking at about $10 to $15 maybe, and that's at any big box store. And I saw this guy marked online for $75. I saw a few others that were a little higher, upwards of $150, and I was like, whoa. But yeah, those profit margins are straight up my alley. So let's just say $15 for the wood. And if you want to rent out a CNC machine, those are about $25 an hour, and you can make several of these in an hour. Or if you just want to use stencils, the stencils are around $8, and the paint, you're looking at about $4. So a total of around $22 to build this guy. And that, my friends, is a great profitable project for the holidays. I really like this project just because of the uniqueness of it. I've never seen one of them, and I'm sure they're, pretty common. However, I've never seen one, and I just thought it was really cool and wanted to share it with you guys. And I will definitely be making a shit ton of these. Make sure to stick around to the end, because I'm going to be sharing some of the best comments, and I'm going to start sharing them in every video at the end of the videos, because I appreciate you guys so much. This next project I'm about to share is going to blow your mind, because it blew my mind. And I'm talking about the price wise, okay? And I'm talking about these handmade candle holders. They can hold any size candle. That's pretty much standard. It could be one of the big cylinder candles or a tea candle. What caught my eye with this guy is the price tag. Wait till you see what they're asking for these three, okay? Your mouth is gonna hit the floor. But they look pretty intricate. However, they're pretty simple to make. The big one measures about 16 inches tall. They're all 5.5 inches wide, and they're made with some rips at 3/4 inches by 3/4 inch. And I'll go over how to make all the dimensions at the saw. So let's meet at the table saw, and I'll show you how you can make this project for the holidays. And if you're interested in making some profit, this is the perfect project to make some big money during the holidays. So the first thing you're gonna need is a stick of 3/4 inch 1x8. And let's take it over to our miter saw and cut it down to 14 inches. Now let's head back to the table saw. Now you're gonna wanna rip 4 of them at 3/4. A quick way to get your 3/4 inch measurement is just butt your plywood or your 3/4 inch 1x8 into your saw blade and your fence, and that'll be your 3/4 by 3/4. Let's go ahead and rip 4 of these. Now that we've got these 4 ripped, our next step is to take a piece of 1x6, at least a foot long, and resaw it to a 1/2 inch. They do sell 1/2 inch stock at the big box stores, so if you're not comfortable resawing on your table saw, just go ahead and buy the piece of 1/2 inch stock. Or if you have a planer, you can plane it down to a 1/2 inch. But in this case, we're just going to go ahead and resaw it at a 1/2 inch. Now that we've got this resawn, we'll take it over to our miter saw. I want to let you know that if you're not comfortable resawing on your table saw, don't. Buy the 1/2 inch stock, or if you have a planer, just plane it down. If you are comfortable with it on the table saw resawing a board, make sure your board is square on all 4 sides. If you have a bowed piece of wood, most likely it's going to bind on you and you'll wind up hurting yourself. So let's head to the miter saw. We're going to go ahead and cut 2 of these at 5.5 inches. Now, what I've got here is a piece of 2x4 that I've ripped in half at 1.5 inches. What we want to do with this is rip some 1/2 inch strips out of this piece. My piece of 2x4 that I ripped in half is 13 inches, so that'll be fine. And these strips that I'm about to rip will sit right here in between. So they're going to measure out to be about 4 inches or so, but we'll get that exact dimension in just a second. Let's go ahead and rip some of these at a 1/2 inch. Now we'll set these 1/2 inch strips to the side for now. 3 strips at least 1 foot should be enough to do our whole candle holder. let's go ahead and get our base of the candle holder installed along with the top. For this, I'm going to be using some brad nails and some wood glue. Wood glue is very important. So we're just going to take and use some 1-inch brad nails. So basically we're lining up our 3/4 inch rip with our corner of our base. And then just pop a couple nails right in the top. And let's just continue around the side. And always be aware of where you are nailing so you don't hit your finger, because that is no fun. Now let's go ahead and do our top. Dab a dab of glue. Now you can measure in between each of your 3/4 inch rips. I got 4 inches. Yeah, I've got 4 inches pretty steady. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut some at 4 inches. We'll need 8 altogether. So I should be able to get 4 inches 8 times out of these 3. Now back over here at the table saw, we'll go ahead and finish putting this thing together. And just slap these right in here. And these 1-inch brads should work perfect for this. And just pop a couple nails in it with some wood glue. And there we have it. Now we just need to do our very top. You can make the top whatever measurement you want to. I'm going to use this piece that is ripped at 3 3/4, and I'm going to cut it 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. So I'll make the mark and cut it at my miter saw. And this piece is 3/4 inch thick. And then we'll just set it on top. Get it centered and just measure both sides and make sure we're equal spacing. Let's make a little mark with a pencil just to be sure we're right. And then we'll add some wood glue and set our piece back on those marks we just made, making sure we have equal spacing again. Just double check. And then pop a couple of brad nails in it. Doesn't take much. Now the next step would be to take your rope. You can use some natural fiber rope, which I like to use. I don't have any. I thought I had some. I'm sorry, guys, I don't. But what I'm gonna do is just take a piece and cut it at about 6 inches. And I'll take each end and put some hot glue onto the wood and the rope and hot glue it to the sides here. And then just kind of shape the rope. You can kind of bend it with your hand and kind of give it the shape you want. So that's what I would do. And this project is super fun. It's super easy to make. And wait until we get back at the workbench where I can show you what they priced this thing at. And if you're feeling froggy, you can add some torch to it. Really, really adds a fun design to it. Now that is a rustic candle holder. That is badass. Wow, you guys. I went ahead and finished torching this thing and put some lacquer on it. And let me tell you what, this thing's badass. I told you I'd show you the price that they're asking for the set of 3. This is the biggest one. The next one down is 12 inches tall. And then the one down from that is 9 inches tall, okay? So for the 3 candle holders, look at what they're asking for this thing. Oh my God. Oh my God. That is insane. Let's break down the cost. So for the wood, it cost me about $15 to make all 3 of these. For the torch, if you have one already, that's great. If you don't, they sell the little small ones on Amazon for like 20 bucks. And you can get at least 5 sets of 3 out of that torch for these things. For the finish, $3. And for the rope, about $1.50. So you're looking at around, just say a max of $20 to build 3 of these, okay? 3 of these, $20 to build. $360. That is probably some of the best profit margin I have seen out of an online project. Always include the shipping in your cost, okay? And then offer free shipping. And that way it's a win-win for both you and the client. These are definitely up my alley of making and get 2 thumbs up. But these are definitely a perfect project for the holidays, for a gift, or if you're strapped for cash. I mean, these things are going like hotcakes online, or you can sell them at your local flea markets. I mean, these things are going quick. No joke.
Not a joke.
Not a joke. Not a joke. Not a joke.
I really mean it.
Not a joke.
Not a joke. Not a joke.
Mark my words.
Come on, Joe. Joe. Oh my God, that's him. Oh God, help us. Help us. God help us. Well guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. Like, comment, and share so we can beat this algorithm. I really appreciate all the feedback I've been getting. I mean, these comments are just fuel to my passion, and I can't thank you enough. And you guys are rock stars. This is Bearded Viking Woodworks, and I have been Dan.